Good day, everyone. This is Rita Choi again, founder of AHM. AHM is a human resources community focusing on coaching and leadership, where we support organizations build high-performing teams. We also have a coaching platform called Coaching Engage Plus, connecting qualified coaches with their potential clients. Our vision is to make coaching affordable and accessible to everyone in the world. As a continuation of our series on HR leaders on how to tackle their top challenges, today is our fifth session for Singapore. I can remember that last Wednesday, our speaker actually shared with us a story about the post office in Singapore. And it seems that it was interesting fact to me that besides selling the postal services, they also sell people's basic necessities there. Today, we are very glad that we have a speaker to talk about filling skills gap. We all know that only using tools can meet the purpose, or we need to have to add on some more things in order to serve the purpose. And our speaker for today is Vincent Chen, who is the lead of Learning and Development at SBS Transit Limited Singapore, specializing in digital transformation and workforce capability building. Besides being a learning and development expert, Vincent is also a big fan of Toastmasters. He likes using storytelling to drive learning, culture, and organization change. Without further ado, I would love to introduce Vincent. Vincent, how are you doing?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Rita, for having me this afternoon. It has been a great morning for me. I just came back from another workshop this morning, and I met a few of my senior staff over there. It was a great sharing session with them. Yes, thanks for having me here to share on the skills gap. I'm excited to be on this platform, and I'm here to share whatever I know about regards to skills gap. Thank you so much.
Vincent. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. So for those who are watching the video today, just say hello to us, and just feel free to leave your questions and comments in the comment box. And Vincent is has prepared a deck, so he's going to walk us through how we can fill this skills gap. Vincent, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So just a brief about myself. I'm Vincent. I'm from SBS Transit. I'm one of the learning development leads in the company. If I run through today, I was just having a very nice conversation this morning about gaps, skills gaps. Why is it important? Well, I wish I knew this many years ago when I simply needed someone or mentor to guide me on actually what do I need to close out this decade? Do I need to close out this in digital age? Do I turn to AI? Do I turn to systems? But then I'll share a bit more because I actually found that people are actually a very valuable source for closing skills gap, especially if you have a mentor or coach or someone who can guide you along. That'll be very excellent because I met someone this morning. His name was Joseph. He was a senior technical officer at one of the engineering workshops, and he was telling me that how he spent time, effort to nurture and close gaps, not only for himself, but also for the people around him. So I'd like to start off that for our first slide, our challenge that most of our bus companies, I'll share mostly on the bus side, will be that we have around 5.8 million trips annually per year, and also on the day trips. We have around 3,800 bus captains that we needed to train, and this captures 60% of the market share in Singapore. So if you manage to see a bus captain who has been driving you safely in Singapore, they have been well trained, well taught, well motivated, and that was the challenge that we have to continue to scale the industry that we have. And only that, we also have our bus technicians as well. So people will say, so Vincent, what is your integrated system? What do you have for us? Is it a system? Is it AI? Is it digital? Because people are going towards AI. I was also on the platform to ask AI, what is 2026 outlook for me next year? What do I have to train? What I have to be prepared? Will I be, looking for a new job, looking for a new role? Answer is probably yes and no. we probably use AI to assist us. In fact, I'll be sharing also on the systems that SBS has been using as well. So in our integrated systems, we do use it to help us plan. AI also helps us to see what blind spots we have. But most importantly, I'll be touching also on our integrated system and our dojo. So on our next slide, SBS was did face we did face a shortfall in our BC spin skill, not skill, and also on our trainings as well. Our first strategic planning pillar is that we need to align always with what the business wants. So for this, I'd like to share that we were in the business. Before we went to China, we got a big glimpse of what autonomous vehicles without drivers. It may sound scary to many, but if you were to take one, I managed to have experience taking one at Punggol Waterway Point at NUS. It was seamless. There was still an engineer on board. It was a safety officer. And our bus captains, well, they were seated at the rear, but they were more of like monitoring. And I was like asking one of them, like, so do you know what to do next? And they say, yes, we need to operate a mini laptop. And it was operated by ST Engineering. So that was one of the key insights that we did. We go to China, we go work with the IHLs, we have our conferences, and also we work with our management and unions to see what are the gaps that we have on a daily basis. And this is what SBST inculcates in us, Agile Mindsets. And so we have always been identifying 4 data sources for our gaps, which is our training management system, learning management systems, our unions. They always have the town halls there to also have discussions. And also we have our source also from our training records, what has been trained, what has not been trained, and also from our mentors assessment guides as well. So these are I think how we identify it in real time. And I'll just like to touch upon the closing of gaps. Yes, we have many gaps to it. We have a dojo model. Probably you're asking me what is it all about. It's our internal OJT system, on-job training. In short, we have around SPST bus business. We have around 120 mentors, where our mentors have been trained in trainers themselves. We actually send them for sandbox training. We also send them for overseas trips with our vendors, with Volvo, Scania, get them all on board. And then we begin to measure our results at 4.70 ROI. ROI in terms of our customer service experience as well as our bus service incentive trip. We here have something called a bus service reliability framework where we get to monitor the compliments as well as how fast we reach the bus depots. So this is internally our SBST's bus side trip of the how we manage to close gaps on this. Any question may pose to me. So let's move on to next.
Okay, so
Yes.
Vincent, by the way, for SBS Transit, for those who are outside of Singapore, they may not know it, is the company managing MRT system and also the bus services in Singapore, right?
Yes. Yes, we are also managing the MRT systems. Correct. Okay, so how do we identify gaps internally here? We do have our individual development plan that is on a quarterly basis. So you might say, what is an individual development plan? It's just like a doctor's diagnosis report that you have of yourself in layman terms. That have you been doing well? How's your cholesterol level, your blood sugar levels, or what are the activities have you undertake? Have you done running? Or in other countries, have you been playing football, badminton? So begin to assess is, have you attended all this before? And how have they been effective for you? So if you are doing running, you know that you needed long distance running, short runnings. You may consider long distance running and short distance running. So our bosses during the appraisal will come to ask you. So like my boss always asks me, hey Vincent, how are you? He does it very casually. He begin to ask very like, how are you today? Where are you? How has everything been going? That's the present of it. Like, how is everything? Is there any challenges you face? Anything? So whenever we have challenges, we begin to look at it as gaps to close positively. So begin to ask any motivation, any coaching you need. Do you need a mentor by your side? I remember my first job, I didn't request for a mentor because I was roughly new to the company. I was just like 2 months, and then I was like, hey, I still do not know the business aspects, our key stakeholders. So he introduced us, not, I wouldn't say a senior manager, he get someone close to my level, and we began to share within, like, for the next 3 months. He was one of my close friends. He's now working in the electrical company. He'll always be there, like, whenever I face like meetings, what to expect. So I always have a question book, like all the gaps. So a mentor is a very rich guide for us. So you may even ask it during your appraisal as well. Don't, because people only thought I only need to attend courses, close gaps, assess training. They're not very interactive. So one way is that we can always ask for a coach if the organization has. That will be one very good way, and a mentor to check in with you. And then one thing that worked really well in a company, which I thought that was also very encouraging, was that they use one-to-ones quite frequently. One-to-ones is not a place where you give your complaints only, but it's a way to ask how you're doing, what the projects you face. So in fact, that gave very good engagement scores for that company, and people that there, I say, stayed for at least minimally 10 years. So if you're looking to perhaps look at engagement and retention, I wouldn't say much, but in terms of the skills point of view, this is one good place or avenue for you. So in IDPs, we also casually ask the causes, how are they working? Is the internal causes working well for you? And we begin to give a rating as well. But more than that, we begin to ask is, how will you apply it? Where have you applied it? So as a manager employee, when you are working with your lower ups or with your peers, do not be afraid to ask questions like, where are you at now? Are you at 70%, 80%? Perhaps my company, my bosses are all coaches themselves. So these are the questions I always face is, are you at a 70? So what is your 30%? Why is it a 70? So I was like, oh, okay. I need to think a bit deeper. But IDPs are a great way to also track what we have been doing on a yearly basis, like a diagnosis report, like a health report. Doctors always have all your full reports, and just like an organization like SBS, we also have full reports for our staffs and the trainings that we go to. Not only that, we also begin, so this IDP, we normally let the HODs and peers also read through. We also begin to review and revamp the IDP to add in new causes. So how do we go about doing this? The refresh and review, we normally do with our unions, the bus business as well as our training providers, and also on e-learning platforms as well. I think Coursera has been and Skillsoft has been quite a good platform for us. They have also been using AI. So we always ask the big question is, so what AI can we upgrade? So this year we begin to come with 2 AI modules for our staff. We begin to have the beginners AI awareness, so get them on board, and also on how do we use AI for digital storytelling and all this. So these are all things that we deal with our consultants. We get consensus from our heads, and this is something. So in terms of the performance data, we begin to see this as a trend. Now I'm helping one of the groups do their trend markings. We are going to see on the basis like what's the top 3 causes that the business departments have been going. So this has been real-time data, and you're going to see, and we interview staff is, so what other projects have you done to supplement this? So in SBS, we have something called the Drive E projects. We begin to also look at how many awards, how many projects they submit. So these are one way to review, test, and begin to assess them. So it's very management is also very kind. They also give an incentive. So recently they have this Drive E award ceremony, acknowledging them. I think most importantly is not only that we need to empower and enforce, and also to encourage them as well along the way. So any questions you may just allow question ask me anything. So we also have, for the technical side, we also have assessments. So we, as I mentioned in the dojo, whenever we have mentors, and my morning conversation with Joseph this morning, he's like, come show me, what do you know, share with me what can you do with this tool, what are the difficulties. So when we have assessment, it's like on job trainings. We also have like scenario based, also have the e-learnings, we also have questions, so they tax onto the tacit knowledge, and also the hands-on, because in the bus business we need to go with them and see the route. So we do have video footage for the bus captains on the road. They have real-time footage, how well did they do. We have some of the latest eye safe and also the eagle eye, we need to see whether will they a bit slow. So we go very deep into it, and also yeah, but most importantly, after that, the data, the assessment, you need a very encouraging and yet very sound coach that will go through the videos and footage with them. So again, hey, maybe this part we will go through. So it's like footage, videos, coaching, and then they'll write in the assessments to review it for the next session. So I think that's a very good follow-up as well. And that's why we call the on-job training tracking weekly interventions. Even for HR and L&D, we may not be so technical, but on the job training, we do have like, so how has this project been? What are your thoughts? What's the follow-ups on this? So in terms of even office job, this can also be applied. Okay, any questions? Thank you. If not, I would like to move on to next. So this is one of the very interesting ones. What if you are doing transitioning? So in SBS, we have many very seasoned bus captains, and they were Sarah. The names have been changed for this purpose. We do have many of them. They are in our bus training center, so they are one of our forerunners. In fact, Rail has also to them. Internally, these are the people who has that tactic knowledge. They know what to expect, what are the challenges the bus captains, and we found them a very good source of mentor. We began to have some for this skills gap, right? We have some competencies that we added in when we were like transitioning. We had mentorings. So we can see, are they a good empathy, a good listener? Are they straight, or are they like, the very encouraging as well? So we do have what we call the training admin side. Do they know how to mark off? So assessments wise, no issue. It's very technical. They learn it on the job when they were the mentees. So it was easy to transit. For this skills gap, right, we begin to add on a few things. We begin to add on things that added outside trainings as well. So we beginning to work with IALs. We have a sandbox training that we have with them. They begin to do some coach or train the trainers for our BCs. BC's level wasn't that high in terms of literacy. So we begin to tweak it here, adjust it with language. We begin to also give it more scenarios instead of the very theoretical. It was a very fulfilling for this trainee because she began to understand, begin to communicate, because in SBS we begin to converse mainly in Chinese. Yes, Chinese. And that was what we kept the bus and the organizations going. So I think when we were at IAL, they begin to bring best practices in. Like you must have questionings, empathy, but it's also for the first time for the organization that they do it in Chinese. It's like, Vincent, we never do this before. We need to translate in Chinese. And then the scenarios we begin to share with them, like, oh, BCs, when they face a traffic issue, what should they do? It's not only driving per se. It's about how to coach them, like taking care of the passengers, because now we are also into customer service. And how do they do presentation trainings and recordings, and how do you test? Because some people may be very good trainers or what, but when it comes to the test, they're like, I never done this before. So when it comes to assessments, we always go back to the competencies. We also goes back to like the scenarios, and then we going to do some mock trainings for the assessors as well. So I think working with Institute of Adult Learning at Paya Lebar, it was also a very good one because they know how to test. They are the experts with it. We bring in the subject matter experts with our internal, so begin to mesh, and that was what we call internal upgrades for our dojo trainers. Yeah, and then I would say IL is also a dojo itself because they are also masters. So when I say dojo, we have inter dojos, we have the external dojos, and yet we also measure, because when you have assessment, we have all assessment scores, and we don't leave it as this. We begin to review also on a quarterly basis. Yep. And AI may suggest something. So one of my trainers was like telling me, hey, I also use AI to tell me what did I not do correct. But I always tell them that AI is a good friend, but it's not a good assessor because you are ultimately control of your own dojo. Yeah. So next, can I move on to the next slide? So for our dojo model, we have our our blueprints. This one we work with the public transport competency framework, which is developed by Singapore Skills SSG, or in short. So they are the ones that in fact, I was also doing one of the competency mappings. We do mappings for level 1, people who are the basic levels. Then I began to plug in and play. It's like, okay, very easy. Okay, that's the easy part. Plug in and play and trying to fit in the levels, the technical training. The difficult part was to assess whether these competencies were the ones that we are looking for. So what did I do next? I began to work. I did not call for a meeting. I began to go to the ground and work with the OCC, the controllers, work with the depot ops staff, work with even their mentors, and we began to see on the ground what were they doing. When you go competencies, it's not behind you just type, you just copy and paste. You have to ask them exactly what is your task, what is this, was this the foundational core ones. And so they say, yeah, it's good to have. I will just put a good to have first. Then I will collect all these need to have, good to have, and go into the meetings and say, okay, in our blueprints, what are we going to do? And it doesn't end at there for level 1. The next question is, to hit to a level 2, what would I need next? So it was a very tedious one, and I think it was a period of like 3 months. I was really crying there with the person, like, hey, what to do next, and how to rate what needs to be shown. Competencies you need to show, you need to understand. I think it goes back to the Kilpatrick 4 models. You need to know, you need to understand, you need to apply it, and then what else can you come up with? So at SBS, I only managed to reach 3. We are working towards 4 because we're working with all the season stuff. Yes, AI does come aboard. You may say AI helps. It does give you a bit more idea on what is the market out there, but internally our resources, our experience are so rich. So if you tell me what did I did that time, it was I think 5 years ago when I started on this blueprint, 3 or 5 years ago. AI was not yet there. My best resource was my OJT bus mentor from Ops. And there it was a lot of like struggling, and they have the resources. But it was just very ad hoc. So we begin to plug in and play and see the assessments as well. So our mentors, as mentioned by IAL, we begin to send them for these sandbox trainings. We are still doing it. We are even going further to train some of them to do curriculum development for some of these trainers. Yes, they need to be able to develop their own. So we begin to send them. Railside has sent them quite a fair bit, and we are glad to say that they are contributing to the new Rail Training Institute as well, because we are going to have more buses, new buses, and these are things that we've been working in the unions, working in the public transport companies. We are also going overseas, China. So these are very great overseas. So if you can, even if you can't go, let's say you're in the office, you have say my business, how have a few calls, network. This is like a great network, like what we are doing today. You may be able to go for networking events, work with them, share your name cards, in fact, get to know their business better, be curious, and always tell ourselves that we need to have a growth mindset and keep learning. And now the tracking points. Okay, this one was pretty interesting because it all leads to a work study diploma, which we working with Institute of Technical Education, ITE in short. We began to track with them as well because they will begin to come and assess like how well are the OJTs are being marked, how well are the assessments being done. They are the ones checking our QC, our qualities. But on the ground, we begin to teach our trainers, our coaches, how do you track them. For the IDPs, yes, HR does come back, but we always partner with the department heads like, this is what you've endorsed. These are your learners. We'll bring up again for the yearly and quarterly exercise to see what they're not being trained. And they always come back to me and say, Vincent, this is a suite that SBS has come up with. Are there more courses that you can always? My answer to them is always yes. Always go and research on your own. Because if we give the ownership to them, to do the tracking, to do the owner, they will be very interested rather than HR being advisor to them. So I felt that yes, give ownership to the BUs, support them, advise them. And this is my job most of the time, is mainly guiding, directing, and then asking them is, did you know that you have this course? Do you know that these are being trained? Do you know that we can even customize the training to your? So they are all very quite happy. Yes, the starting path may not be easy. And when the fourth point I like to call is about validation. So when we have the ops manager signing off for the individual plan, IT signing off, IL signing off, why do we ask all these people? Because they are authorities and the heads that we like, because they are the experts in their fields. We always like bring experts as well. So validation, yes, from the ground we do it. From the ground, the heads acknowledge, and HR as a OD protectioner, I like to support them very closely on this. Always very curious, always keep an open mindset, and if the causes don't work out, let's say, what do we do? Always go back to the people on the ground. Are these working out for you? Do you find them useful, or could it be tweaked further? And the other causes that you have attended conferences, because most of our people from the ground, they also attended overseas conference, national conference. They are always in the, for example, safety, they're always going for WSH, and they're always asking is, can I apply this to my depot? Can I apply this back to my unit? Can I get these new initiatives? And they come up with things like initiatives like SHAPE. What is the new plans? Is it sleep, trip, and falls? How do we capture this? And I'm glad to say that they are working quite well, our safety departments as well. So it's not only technical, internal, and always, and this tracking blueprints, they set the team also for the years. Are you going AI? Are you going automation? Are you going data analytics? For SBS, we have tried data storytelling. It's still going strong. And I think next year they'll be going on to AI with a bit more on that, because we're always starting to value add to our bus business as well. Okay, I've spoken a lot on this dojo model for OJT. Any questions? If not, we can go next. So we, as mentioned, we like to have 70% structured OJT for our people. And we also have the 20% peer learning, which my mentors, my colleagues, they always like very keen to share, and they share from their experiences what can be done better. And also in COVID times, we also have e-learnings, because our bus captains, they have the iLink app, and they're always on the go. Our iLink is actually very simple. It's actually start us with also call what you call the appetizer of the day, because they don't have time only for a light snack. And then when they have a mentor and peer-to-peer with the bus, other bus species, they actually learn more, because they're, hey, these are the routes I need to take, these are the accident-prone areas. Who else can tell you? Not AI. And then we have a structured OJT to capture all these things in. So it's a 70-20-10. Okay, may I know on to next? So this is the Kirkpatrick framework. I did share a bit on the reactions, on the learnings, and also on the behaviors. So these are our models and our results. We are glad to say that we fit our BSRFs, and also on the customer service index on our compliments, and to lower the complaints. So still is a work in progress. We always base it on what is the reaction and how is the learning to be done. As mentioned, is through OJT and assessments. Any questions here? It's just a framework you can Google on your own. Next. And so this is our validated results. SBST, we have already reaching, this is the last quarter result, so it's 86%. Our compliments to complaint ratio is always on the rise. We're still going on to this. We have a travel buddy. We're still working with also the caring commuters initiatives. And I'll be glad to say that we are having a new training center at one of our depots, where we have experiential training with the RAMs, greeting with customers, handling dementia patients. So we're going more into inclusive training, and we are going to be recertified for our NACE training next year, starting with rail and starting from bus. We always like to be revalidated. Okay, so next. And this is our partnerships that we work with our IHLs, with our governments, to tap on fundings, and with our close partner, Singapore Bus Academy. We are working at this inclusiveness center. And with our partners, NDUC, they're always telling us what is on the next. And they are working on the LXP with SBS options as well. So if we are also keen to expand our e-learning and contents for our business, like leadership, business, report writings, and so on. And that's where we come up with our best practices. So this is just a snapshot of what we are doing best. Okay, next. And now with our digital proficiency, we have launched our new iLink app. We are on board with our new success factors. We are currently now at 90% digital proficiency. Our bus captains know how to use their apps, and they're going to use this to search over their buses, check on their leaves, and they are also, quite happy with it. We are also rolling out more. So with our new success factors learning management systems, we hope to do even more for the bus captains with more e-learnings and we tend to also on the ground we have our briefings, so we also engage our BCs on how to use that as well. So our mentors, our people on the ground, they are all very important. HR is also very important supporting this very exciting shift to digitalization. We have been doing it and we will continue to do so. Okay, next. So this is three key principles. It's not a single tool. We are planning. We need to have an agile mindset and also to measure it. Yes, because we need to track it well and also measure what it means to the business. So we need to have our town halls, meetings with SGBA, LTAs, and also onto the overseas conference at UITP. Our SPSC CEO, Mr. Jeffrey Sim, is also very into this. So he's also there to always there to share his insights. He's been doing some talks and he's also getting to get to know a few more businesses overseas. And that's all my take is that we need to have an agile mindset with a system with AI. We need to ship it, we need to measure it, we need to improve it, and AI is always our ally. So this is what I have to share with my last 3 points. Is that the last slide? I think so.
I think so.
Yes, I have planned my slides well. Sorry to run over time a bit. Rita, are we good on time?
That's okay. That's okay. I could feel your passion and enthusiasm when you were sharing with us the best practices, the good practices at SBS.
Yes.
From your presentation, I got to realize that besides giving the best tools for employees,
Mm,
and of course in SBS you have excellent framework, measured, validated, and so on. It also
mm,
has mentoring and coaching support. And more
yes.
importantly, I'm particularly impressed with the casual question made by
Mhm,
your boss when he was doing this sort of internal assessment for you, right? Asking
yes.
you, where are you now at? That's a casual question, right? Not threatening, but actually it shows his care and it's such a powerful question.
Mhm,
And apart from that, I can see a lot of human touch in this in the whole in this whole exercise, and also that will also be the culture of your organization.
mm,
Meaning that you mentioned empowering, enforcing, and encouraging, right? And
yes.
they ask the leaders always ask the good questions, and also people also know that they need to apply. They need
Mm,
to apply what they learn. I think that's the most important thing. That has also made the company so successful in
mm,
implementing different projects, no matter closing the gap, the skills gap, or other projects. That's amazing. I really love that. I really learned a lot from it. A lot of people say that, okay, what's the value of the people when AI is coming? I think the most important thing for us is to include the human touch there. And the human touch
yes.
makes a lot of difference and also
Mm,
makes this company success. Okay, let's see if we have any question here. It seems like Vincent has given a very clear roadmap on on how your company
mhm.
close the skills gap. Okay, so any closing remarks for us, Vincent?
I would just say AI is coming. Yes, we have to be on our toes. So like a dojo, we always be the next for the next practice, the next assessment, and always approach your mentors. Maybe review it together with AI, and then you see balance it out and see how it goes. Secondly, is always engage the ground. Measurement always make sure that it's validated by the business heads. Always get that buy-in. If not, why? Asking a good question, why? How could we do better? Probably should be on top of our minds whenever we want to close skills gap. The challenge for us right now is that we also want to also find out is like any new roles in the organization. Are there changes in the roles? Perhaps what skills do we need for this new role? And that is probably very important, I think, in this digital age as well. Because for SBS, we actually have a new role like a diagnostic expert. It was practically unheard of. So we actually look at the technicians, technical officers, and exactly what we actually measured, bring in data analytics skills, a bit more report writings, a bit more statistical storytelling onto that. And then the technicians are asking me is like, is this relevant? So end of the day, you need to actually sit them with them and tell them slowly that things are changing, and also to encourage them and that we are together on this. So measure, bring the new competencies, and then able to have agile mindset, being to learn. and also to gain support from the people below as well. The our ground staff is also very important because they know the ground better than us. So I think that's one way. Ask questions. Be interested on everything that they do. That's all I have.
Wow, thank you, Vincent. A lot of nuggets wisdoms from you. Thank you, Vincent.
All right.
Okay, so for our next session, it will be on Wednesday. So next Wednesday is the Christmas Eve, right? But we do
Yes.
have a very special guest speaker who is an expert in transformation. All along, she has been working in the transformation team of her companies, no matter it's in the government or in the private sector. So I look forward to her sharing on how we can manage transformation effectively in this uncertain world. Okay, without further ado, I would love to say, wish everybody the best and enjoy the rest of the week. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you, Vincent, again. Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.